Camping to me is the most peaceful, beautiful, enjoyable experience. Birds chirping, insects buzzing, creeks flowing, stars shining at night. You have green grass, brownish tree trunks, colorful wildflowers. But to others, it is an inconvenience that they do not want to experience. However, I recommend people get out of their comfort zone and give camping a try. But don't go wandering off into the woods. Consider a local campsite, a simple campsite with a fire pit and outhouse, nothing else. I don't know. To me, camping is a gentle intro to safely getting a feel for survival without modern conveniences that most of us can't live without. You see, there's no electricity in the woods. Food only lasts but so long without refrigeration, unless you pack freeze-dried foods, and then you need a reliable water source to rehydrate the food. No electricity, no flushing toilets, no running water. So how does one manage to live without these things? Well, this is a good question and can be the start of people understanding how most will perish in a prolonged grid down scenario. Camping pulls you away from TV, phones, computers, plumbing, electricity, stores, municipalities. It provides a brief glimpse into a normal day in life of our ancestors several hundred years ago, and lends some insight into how far we have moved from being able to produce good drinking water, hunting and foraging for food, and maintaining good hygiene in the wilderness. On top of that, many people do not even know how to protect themselves. So it isn't that difficult to picture the chaos and death tolls in the first few days of a collapsed society, even a partial collapse, the panic, fear, and mental breakdown many will experience due to lack of preparation. You see, preparing for what is to come is more than stacking food, water, and medical supplies. It's also preparing mentally and physically. So, what is a good way to get people to realize that they are 100% dependent on the system? I think camping is a good way. No stores, no police, no running water, no electricity, no TV, no recharging, and no luxury. There are some who test their preps by attempting not to use electricity for 24 hours or more, but they still have access to plumbing and fresh running water from the faucet, and they can simply flip the light switch on when things appear too inconvenient. Others have gone the extra step of turning off the main electrical switch into their house for 24 hours or more to identify weaknesses in their preparation. As for me, I make the best of every power outage that occurs in our area. I have no idea when they will happen or how long they will last, but when a power outage does happen, we roll right into our power outage routine. We do not depend on a generator, and with the addition of the fireplace, we can use that to keep warm as well as cook. You have seen me in previous videos cooking on the wood-burning stove during the winter. We also have propane tanks to grill on during the warm season. We also have the means to make a fire pit, much like the one we made in a previous video of our last year's camping trip. In addition to that, we have candles, oil lanterns, and flashlights for light. I am looking into improving this area by being able to make candles out of beeswax made from our honeybees. But I need a little more proficiency in this area, so more learning. Yay! When camping, you wake up with the sun and you wind down and prepare for bed when it sets. You have a lot of time on your hands to practice things like starting a fire in a fire pit, using a lighter, match, or flint and steel, maybe even a friction fire. You could practice tying knots, water filtration, making cordage from natural resources, maybe even trap small game, and tracking. Building sturdy lean-to shelters using branches that are already on the ground is a fun thing to do. Make sure you get permission before cutting down trees on someone else's property. No matter how much people are in denial, things are getting pretty bad financially for a lot of people on a global scale. In the last 6 months, tens of thousands of layoffs took place multiple times at large tech companies. Businesses have been closing permanently left and right. First it was the small mom and pop stores, then supermarket chains, Discount stores, Walmart, Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, Amazon, Foot Locker, Tuesday Morning, and so many more. And to top it off, banks are collapsing. And while it isn't being televised nearly enough by U.S. media, the conflict between Russia and China is becoming more and more dangerous. Stocking up on food and water alone isn't going to save you. Learning useful skills such as foraging, sewing, water filtration, gardening, first aid, cooking with raw ingredients, raising livestock, whether large or small, adapting to changes that may reduce your luxurious ways of living. There is nothing psychotic about preparing for difficult times, but people are gambling big time if they are just sitting by and doing nothing while watching things fall apart. I hope that you enjoy the content on this channel. If so, please consider subscribing to help this small channel to grow.